But what might surprise you is how big of a point it actually is. Perceived empathy accounted for percent of the variance in evaluation scores. Hello, welcome everybody to Mitch's Data Corner, where I take a topic that I've been interested in, provide a little bit of data about that topic, and come to, hopefully, an interesting conclusion. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a consultant for the asset and wealth management companies, so think private equity, superannuation, real estate, those kinds. But I'm also a business coach, and Mitch's Data Corner is a passion project of mine. It's a presentation that I occasionally do for work. It's something that I've found helpful, something that a few of the team have found helpful, so I hope it's something that you find helpful as well. So what's the point of this place? So the first thing is taking a break from daily client work. So as I said, I'm a consultant, which means I spend most of my time dealing with clients, and occasionally difficult clients. It can be so easy to get caught up putting out fires for clients that you get in your head and you stop doing your best work. I know that I certainly did. So I needed a break from all of that stress. I needed to find something else for me to work on, and that's where this came from. So I like to think that I'm building a cabin for me to take a rest, and you guys can come and rest with me. But of course, working for a consulting company, you gotta think about shareholder value. And that's where point 2 comes in. Sharing knowledge and ideas to help the business grow. So here I'd like to be focusing on things that I found interesting and helpful, but don't really get a chance to talk about in my day-to-day interactions. And the third point here is to inspire personal growth. So I believe that your professional development and your personal development are quite closely entwined, and that you do your best work when you're personally fulfilled. This is where a lot of my coaching ideas come from. So really, it's better for both you and your business, whether you're working as an employee, as a manager, or running your own business, for you to be fulfilled in the work that you do. So Mitch's Data Corner is a point of growth for me, and it'd be great if I could help find something similar for you, or inspire something similar in you. So the topic that I was looking at most recently was the idea of empathy at work. So here's a paper about how college students rated their professors' performance. So here we're looking at what really moved the needle about getting a good performance evaluation. As you can guess by the topic of the presentation, one of the really important points was the idea of care and consideration, or the perceived empathy that the professors had for the students. But what might surprise you is how big of a point it actually is. Care and consideration was the #1 factor in being rated as a good professor. In fact, perceived empathy accounted for 54% of the variance in evaluation scores, and it was by far the most important factor. Now, 54% might sound like a lot. For comparison, perceived competence, how good the students actually thought you were at your job, only accounted for 7% of the variance in test scores. That means being empathetic was 8 times more powerful than being competent when it came to your evaluation. Now, this information isn't new. This paper was actually from 1978. And, as you can imagine, this same concept that was applied to teachers can also be applied to a professional setting. This same concept can apply to both team and client relationships. Think manager and employee, team member to team member, or consultant to client. So when clients throw difficult problems at you, the most important point is not whether you actually know what you're talking about. It's whether they feel like they are truly being listened to and being cared for. This can mean a lot of things. First of all, when we're looking at through the lens of a business, keeping a high client satisfaction through care and consideration can help you win more contracts, upsell more work, and ultimately increase the lifetime value of your clients. But it's not just good for the business, it's also good for you personally. If you're always working with the most satisfied clients, it makes you look really good. And that starts with empathy. But the real question is, what do we do about it? Working with the team, we came up with a couple points to answer a couple questions I had. How do you manage the stress of dealing with clients? So for me, it was long walks in nature, getting that time to clear your head, disassociating from the problem. If you know you've done the best work, you can put that box away. And the second question we were looking at is, how do you interact with clients to show that you care? We all seemed to agree that making the client feel heard first is the most important thing. Only once you've done that can you present your point. And a great way to show this is to reflect the request in your own words, to show that you're not just listening, but comprehending as well. Chris Voss says in negotiations, you always aim to get the other side to say, that's right. It's no different in any other client relationship. Once you've built that base, can you work together to build an approach? Anyway, that's an overview of Mitch's Data Corner and what I've been presenting at work. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found something useful here. Let me know in the comments below.